Hello everybody, it's Crystal. Welcome to my channel, Bagoday Crochet. So, today I have a crochet tutorial for you, and it is this gorgeous shawl here that you saw in the picture. Very, very pretty. It's a triangle shawl. There we are. Isn't that pretty? So, this is relatively easy. The stitches that you're going to need to know how to do for this is the basics, such as single crochet and double crochet, and I do believe there is a back post or front post, one of those in there, and it is a 6-row repeat, but don't worry, the repeat rows are very, very easy. I mean, you'll catch on really quick. So do you guys want to go ahead and get started? Let me go ahead and tell you the size of this one right here that I did before I show you the yarn. Is approximately from, oh, oops, didn't hide that tail, sorry. From that corner all the way over to this corner is about 80 inches. And then from the top point down to the bottom is about 35, 36 inches, something like that. Of course, you can make it any size that you want. All right, let's do it. All right, so for that particular shawl that you saw right there, the yarn that was used is Mary and Maxim Value yarn, which is a medium weight number 4, or otherwise known as an Aran weight, or a 10 ply for my friends across the pond. 100% acrylic yarn. You don't have to use this yarn. In fact, you don't even have to use 4-way yarn. You can use any yarn that you want and make it any size that you want. That's the beauty of a shawl. My shawls anyways. You can make them with any yarn, with any color, and use any size that you like. But I always like to show what I use. So yes, I did use this medium weight number 4, 100% acrylic. The color is called dark pink. And there are 474 yards per ball. It didn't take quite 2, but almost all of 2, so about 800 yards of a 4-way is what you're going to need to make that shawl. And that's a pretty nice size shawl, so, you know. And then the hook, we're going to be using a J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Now remember, you can use, like I said, you can use any fiber, any color, any weight. If you do use a different weight, whatever, you just probably want to use, I don't know, maybe the recommended hook size that your yarn recommends, or you could always use like one bigger if you want more drape on it, something like that, okay? But for the 4-way, I'm going to use a J. Okay, so this shawl is a top down, so we're going to be working from the top, and then it gets wider and goes down. All right, why don't we go ahead and begin with a slip knot on our hook for row 1. And we're going to be starting with a ring, so if you want to use the magic circle for this first row, that would be just fine. Other than that, I'm going to start with a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch, and that is going to be the ring for me. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch in there like that, and now I have a ring. I'm going to go ahead and hide this tail as I go. So we're going to be working into the center of this ring. I'm going to start off with the chain 4. Now that chain 4 is going to count as a triple crochet or a treble crochet here and for the rest of the shawl. All right, so whenever we do a chain 4, it's going to count as a triple crochet. And now what we're going to do, we are going to go back in, we're going to work into the ring and do 3 double crochets in the center of the ring. So there's 1, we're doing doubles, 2, and 3, like that. So counting that chain 4, we got a triple, and 3 doubles. And then we're going to chain 2, which is going to be the point of the shawl. And all we do really is what we do on this side, we have to mock it on the other side. So we're going to do 3 doubles into the ring. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to end by putting a triple crochet into the ring. Now we'll end row 1, triple. There we go. We started with the triple, chain 4, and we ended with the triple. You usually pull that center circle there, close that up a little bit more. All right, so that's what we have at the end of row 1. We got the 2 triples and then 3 doubles, and our chain 2 right here is going to be the point of the shawl. All right, so this has row 2 through 7 is going to be the repeat rows. So it's a 6-row repeat, like I said, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we're getting ready to start row 2 right now. So we're going to start off with the chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, always count as a triple. And we're going to turn our work. Now, we always start out the same. Chain 4, and then we go back into the very first stitch right here, and we work 2 doubles. So it always starts the same, and it's always going to end the same. When we get there, I'll show you that. 1, and there's 2. So we did triple, 2 doubles in that very first stitch. Now what we're going to do for row 2, and every time we repeat row 2, it will continue to get bigger, but we will just put we will be doing a front post double crochet in every single stitch until we get to our chain 2 space, which is always our center of our shawl. So row 2 starts to repeat, even though there ain't very many here. Every time you repeat the row 2, there'll be more, but you do a front post double crochet into every stitch from the previous row, besides this first one, because we worked into that one, of course, already. Front post. So we go around the post of it like that, and we just put 1 in each of them until we get to that chain 2 space. And remember, every time you repeat it, it's just going to get bigger, so there'll be more stitches for you to repeat. More stitches, more front post. But whenever you make it to the chain 2 space, we're going to do our point, and the point is always the same too. It's very easy. We're going to go into the chain 2 space to form the point of the shawl. Every row is always the same. We are going to work 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space, 1 and 2, and then we're going to chain 2 and work 2 more doubles, 1 and 2. Look at that. Now we got to chain 2 space again for our next row. And now, like I said, the shawl, it's going to be whatever we did on this side, we're going to mock it on the other. So we're going to work a front post double crochet into every single stitch until we get to the very last stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and work a front post double crochet into each stitch here. So I get to the front, and there's not many now, but there, you know, as it grows, there'll be more. And when you make it to your last stitch, excuse me, it'll be the chain 4 from the previous row, and we always end the same. And the top of that chain 4, we're going to work 2 double crochets into it. There's 1, and there's 2, and a triple as well into the same space. And that is how we end it. That ends row 2. And every time you repeat row 2, that is what you will do. And now we will go ahead and start row 3 with a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and give our work a turn. Just like that. Alright. Now, we're going to go start it the same way. Right back into the very first stitch. 2 double crochets into that very first stitch. It's always the same. And now we're just going to work one double crochet, one double, into every stitch until we get to our chain 2 space, or the point right here. All right. And every time you repeat this row, you know, there'll be more doubles, but it's always one double crochet, row 3, and every time you repeat it in every stitch until you get to your chain 2 space, or the point of your shawl. Like that. And then when you get to the point here, we are going to work the same as we always will every time we get to the chain 2 space for every row. It's sorry about my dogs. 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2, and then we're going to chain 2 and go back in and work 2 more double crochets. There's 1 and 2, just like that. And then we're just going to do the same thing on this side that we just did on this side, which is 1 double crochet in every stitch until we get to the last stitch of row 3. All right, I'll see you there in just a second. All right, so when you make it to the end of row 3 doing the double crochet in every stitch, you're at your very last stitch, which is a chain 4. And remember, we always end the same no matter what row we're on. We go on the top of that chain 4 and we're going to work 2 double crochets into it and a triple. So there's 1 and 2 into the top of it, and then we're going to do a triple, and that'll end row 3. Just like that. Here we go. Now we're going to start row 4. All right. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn over. Start it. Always the same. We're going to go right back into that same stitch. 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Now for row 4, and every time you repeat row 4, what we're going to do now is we are going to chain 1. We are going to skip 2. Skip, skip. And the next one, we're going to work a shell. So a shell for this particular shawl here is, we're going to go skip your 2, skip, skip. We're going to go into stitch, and we're going to do a double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1. We're going to go back into the same stitch, and we're going to work a double crochet and a chain 1. And then we're going to put 1 more double crochet. So whenever I say shell, that is what I mean for this particular shawl. It is a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So we got 3 doubles and chain 1s in between them, like that. Now we're gonna go ahead and we are gonna start the repeat of row 4. This is what we'll repeat until we get near the point. We will chain 1 like that, and we will skip 2, skip, skip, and put a double crochet into the next, just 1, and then we will chain 1, skip 2, skip, skip, and we'll put a shell into the next. So the shell, remember, is a double crochet, chain 1, back into the same stitch, double crochet, chain 1, one more time, and double crochet. And that would have been in the repeat. And you would keep repeating that until you get to, the last, to where you can't do it anymore. You can't do it anymore. And we're at that point right now. So again, as your piece grows, you're going to have more. So you would repeat it with the chain 1 right here, and then skip 2 and double, chain 1, skip 2 and shell, chain 1, skip 2 double, chain 1, skip 2 shell. And you repeat it, like I said, until you get to your last 2 stitches here before the point. Okay, when you make it, you don't want to chain. Okay, when you make it here, and you have 2 stitches left before the point, and you can't repeat it anymore. You don't want to chain 1 after this last shell, all right? You just want to go directly into the chain 2 space, and we do what we always do in the chain 2 space. It's always the same. It's 2 doubles. There's 1, 2, and we're going to chain 2, and then work 2 more doubles into that space. There we go. And then for row 4 here, we're just going to mirror the side here. So we didn't chain 1 after this last shell, so we're not going to chain 1 here. We're going to skip 2, skip, and we're going to shell into the next. So skip. And this is, remember, every time you repeat row 4, it'll get bigger, but this is what we do. There's the shell. And we're going to chain 1, skip 2, skip, and put 1 double into the next. Like that. And you keep repeating that. All the way up until you get to, your last 3 stitches. Until you can't do it anymore. That's what you do. So I'm going to chain 2. I'm sorry, chain 1. Skip 2, skip, and shell into the next. Double, chain 1. Double, chain 1, and double. Like that. And then we will chain 1 after this one. And then you can see if we skip 2, we'll be at our last stitch. We can't do it anymore because our last stitch is always done the same way. So we just skip them 2, and our last stitch is, like always, into the top of that chain 4. It gets 2 double crochets and a triple. And that will complete row 4. And a triple here. Alright, and now we can start row 5. Row 5. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn our work. Start it like we always started. Putting 2 double crochets right back into that same stitch. There's 1. And there's 2. Alright, so for row 5, and every time we repeat row 5, we are going to skip 1 stitch right here, and we're going to put a shell into the next. We're not going to chain 1 after this one. We're just going to go directly into the next stitch right here, and we're going to work a shell. So skip 1 and shell right here. Double, chain 1, again, double, chain 1, and double, just like that. And then we will start repeating what we would do until we get to our chain 2 space down here, which would be a chain 1, and then we'd come over here to this shell right here. The next stitch should be a shell, and we're just going to put a double crochet in the middle double crochet of this shell, like that. And then we would chain 1, and this double crochet right here, we're going to put a shell on top of that in the double crochet. So we're just kind of putting them like opposite on top of each other. So put a shell on top of this double crochet, chain 1, double, chain 1, and double, like that. And then we chain 1, repeat it, come over here to this shell right here, and we would put a double crochet in the top of the middle double crochet of the shell, like that. So that's what it would start to look like. All right, so you just kind of, keep repeating that until you get near the end of your point here, and you can't really, there's nothing left to do. You can see there's no more shells, and no more like single double crochets on their own. So what we'll do here, once you get near the chain 2 space, go ahead and chain one after that last double crochet before your chain 2 space, and we're going to skip one. We're going to skip this double crochet, the chain 1 space, and this double crochet, and then in this one right here we'll work a shawl. So double chain 1, double chain 1, and a double like that. And so now we have 1 stitch here, and then we're at our chain 2 space. We don't want to chain 1 after this, all right? We're just going to go directly into the chain 2 space and do what we always do, which is 2 doubles. There's 1, and there's 2, and we would chain 2, go back into the chain 2 space again, and work 2 doubles. There's 1 and 2. So we want to do the same thing on the other side that we just did on this side. So you take a quick peek over here, you can see that we did not work into the stitch before the chain 2, so we don't want to work into the one after. But we did work into the next one, and we did not chain 1. So we're going to skip 1, and we'll put a shawl into the next. Don't chain 1 there. So we're going to put a shawl. And then we just repeat what we did on the other side. So we're going to chain 1 and into the middle double crochet of our next shawl, we're going to put a double crochet on top of it, like that. And we're going to chain 1, and into the next double crochet that's standalone, we're going to put a shawl into that, and you keep repeating that. That, chain 1, next shawl, middle double crochet. Let's put a double crochet into it, like that, and then we're going to chain 1. And when you get to the end here, what we want to do is you get to the end and you know you can't do it anymore, and you just did a double crochet right here. We are going to put a shawl into, we're going to skip this stitch here, put a shawl into this stitch, okay, skip this one, shawl into that one. But you make sure you chain 1 there, go into this one, and shawl, like that, and that leaves us with 2 stitches. We don't chain 1, we go ahead and skip that stitch, and then the last stitch we end it the same way. We always end every row. In the top of that chain 4, we work 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2, and then a triple in the same spot, and that is row 5. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start row 6. So we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn our work, and we always start it the same way. Go right back into that very first stitch there, and you work 2 double crochets. Row 6 here, and every time you repeat row 6, we are going to go directly into the very next stitch, and we're working like a half a shell into this. All right, so what we're going to do is just work a double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet like that. Okay, and then we're gonna kind of start the repeat of what we would do down this side. It's just kind of, you know, keeping them the same, but so we're going to chain 1, and we will put a double crochet in on top of the middle double crochet of the next shawl, chain 1, and then we put a shawl on top of the next standalone here, double crochet, put a shawl on top of that. And you would just keep repeating that until you get to where your last 3 stitches before the point. All right, every time you repeat this row. So just keep repeating this. We're going to chain 1, and we would do a double crochet in the middle double crochet of this shell, chain 1, and we do a shell and this double crochet here that's by itself, like this. Yep. And then we have to chain 1, and then the shell in the middle double crochet of it, we put a double crochet, and now you can see we have 3 stitches left before we reach our chain 2 space. All right, you just keep repeating that every time you repeat this row until you get till you get to 3 stitches before the chain 2 space here, the point. So we would just chain 1, and then we are going to skip these 2 here, and then in the very last stitch before the point, we're going to do that half shell again like we did up here, which was done in the very next stitch after we did our first stitches. So the very last stitch, so we skip that one and we skip that one, do chain 1 after that, double crochet, but the last stitch before the chain 2 space or the point, we're going to go in it and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. So that's kind of like our half a point, like that. And then we're not going to chain 1 after that. We're going to go into the chain 2 space and do what we always do, which is 2 double crochets, chain of 2, and 2 more double crochets. And now we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So we don't do a chain here because we didn't do one here, but in the very next stitch we do like the half a shell. So we do a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet, like that. And then we're going to find our next, we're going to chain 1 after that. We are going to find our next shell. You can see it, it's right here. We skipped this one right here, and there's a shell here. We're going to start our repeat with double crocheting into the double crochet, middle double crochet of that shell, chain 1, shell into the double crochet, you guys got this, don't worry. It might seem like it's a little confusing, but it's really not. Once you get it down, you'll get it worked up real quick. Then keep repeating that pattern, chain 1, and the shell here, you want to put a double crochet into the middle double crochet of that shell, chain 1, and this standalone double here, put a shell on top of that one, down, chain 1, and we got one more shell here. We're going to put a double crochet in the middle of that middle double crochet there of that shell. Then we're going to chain 1, and now we are going to do the same thing here that we did over here. So the second to the last stitch, we always do the same thing in the last. So the one right next to the last, or I guess you're skipping this one and this one, we are going to do a double crochet. We did chain 1 after that last double, a chain 1 and another double crochet like that. Now we will not chain 1, and we will go ahead and end the shawl like we always end it with, in the top of that last stitch, 2 double crochets and a triple. like that, and a triple. Okay, and that ends row 6, and that ends those type of rows. But that's basically, you know, all they are. Every time you repeat them, they're going to be the same. All right, so row 7, which is the final row, row of the repeats, we're going to chain 4, like always. Turn our work, and we're going to go back into that very first stitch there and work 2 double crochets. There's 1, and there's 2. Now what we're going to do for this row is we are going to put a double crochet into every double crochet and every chain 1 space except the chain 1 spaces of the shells and the half shell. We do not put any double crochets in any chain space that has to do with the shell, but we do put them in between, like here, in between where we chain 1 and on top of every double. So why don't we go ahead and do that real quick. We will double crochet into every double, like this. Now this next chain 1 space is part of a shell, and we do not go into the chain 1 space of a shell because this is a half a shell. So we're going to skip that chain 1 space and double crochet into the next double. And now we can double crochet into this chain 1 space, double crochet into this double, double crochet into this chain 1 space, and now we're at a shell, and we do not do any doubles into the chain 1 spaces of the shells. So we're just going to put a double crochet in each of the double crochets of that shell. Like that. And then we can put a double crochet into these 2 chain 1 spaces and on that double. So double crochet into that chain 1, double crochet into that double, and then into that chain 1, and we just keep repeating this until we get to the chain 2 space down here. So here's a shell again, so we're not going to put any doubles into the chain spaces, just on the doubles. Like that. So you can see I didn't do anything into the chain 1 spaces, but we can and need to go into the chain 1 spaces here. Double crochet into that chain 1, double crochet into that double, double crochet into the next chain 1, and we would just keep repeating that same pattern and till you get to the chain 2. And remember, this half double is down here at the end, and we can't go into that chain half shell is down here at the end, and we can't go into that chain 1 space. So when you get to that chain 1 space, the last one before your chain 2, don't put a double crochet into it, just skip it and double crochet into each of the remaining doubles until you get to your chain 2 space, like that. And then in the chain 2 space we do what we always do, 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles, and then we're just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Double crochet into every stitch in the chain 1s that are not part of a shell, and this chain 1 is a half a shell, so we're not going to go into that one, but we will go into the double crochet after it. And we're going to go into the next chain 1 space, the next double, the next chain 1 space. I'm just doing the same thing I did on the other side. Here's a shell. I'm going to do double crochet in the doubles, leaving the chain 1 spaces unworked. I'm going to continue this until I get to the last stitch of the row. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 7. Remember, there is the half a shell here, so we can't go into that chain 1 space. So I'll just skip it and double crochet into the remaining stitches here until we get to the last. And the last one is always the same. Top of that chain, 2 doubles and a triple, all into the top of that chain, like that. And that ends row 7, and that ends the repeat rows. Now remember, you got this, you can do it. So you would just start again for row 8. You would just start at row 2, which is a chain 4 and a turn. It is the front post double crochet row, but we got to put 2 double crochets back into that very first stitch. That's always a must. Now there's a lot more front post double crochets we got to do now, but yeah, this front post double crochet around every stitch here, starting with the next one because we already worked in that first one, until we get to our chain 2 space, and then we just do what we always do. So you want to keep repeating that, rows 2 through 7, until you get the shawl as big as you want it to be. Now remember, don't be intimidated by it. You got it. Once you do a repeat or so, it will become very, very easy and whipping it up in no time. So remember, right now I'm just repeating row 2, and it's just 2 through 7. See, I'm on the back side of my work, but when you flip it over, there's that ridge. Repeating those rows. Now you can repeat those for as big as you want the shawl to be. Let me go ahead and get mine here. This one has a total of 39 rows on it. All right, ain't that pretty? That's pretty. 39. So, all right, so it ended on the complete repeat and then a row 2 and then a row 3. That's how it was ended. So, you know, here was the end of the repeat row, and then I started over with the row 2, which was the front post row, and then row 3, which is a regular double crochet row, and that's how it was ended. Of course, you can end it on any row you want. You can do it however you want. It does not matter to me. It's your shawl. But yes, this one has 39 rows. And then if you want to add fringe or picots or nothing, if you want to go across the top and clean it up with single crochet or nothing, it's whatever you want to do. I think it turns out really pretty. I like it a lot. I think it's cool. It's really nice. And remember, please don't be intimidated by it. You got this. You do. Once you get to going, and it works up quick. It doesn't take a lot of yarn for a big shawl either. Well, using a 4-weight. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. And don't forget to like if you did enjoy. And I will see you guys on my next video, whatever it might be. Hey, hit that subscribe button too, if you'd like. And check out my other tutorials. I have so many. Bye, guys.